Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Rugby on the Notre Dame Rugby YouTube channel. So happy to have you this evening as a rivalry is renewed between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the visiting Ohio State Buckeyes, a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game and the third time in the last 2 years that these two programs meet in a high-profile showdown. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Charlie Morris, my partner, is Chris Daly, and Chris, doesn't get much better than this.
It doesn't. These two teams battled it out, as you said, Charlie, 40-39 in favor of Notre Dame in the first fixture, but that was away from home for the Irish at Ohio State. And the Buckeyes marched in Big Ten championship game, and they won in the game that mattered the most. They lifted the Big Ten trophy afterwards, 21-17. It was a really back-and-forth game throughout. One of the best games we called all year. I am so excited to be here today, Chuck.
Yeah, certainly am as well, as it'll be the Buckeyes coming in with a 1-3 record. It's been a little bit of a slow start for them, but you know that, Chris, this is going to be their best game of the season. Certainly up to this point, but probably when the season's over, they're going to look at this one and say, we got the most fired up for this one, and we played our hardest.
Yeah, I was talking to both coaches before the game. This was the game they had circled on the calendar, and especially for Ohio State, they're 1-3 to start the season. They really need to get going here. Notre Dame's 4-1 on the other hand. This could be a pivotal moment in the season for Ohio State.
Yeah, the Irish come in ranked number 12 in Division I rugby. Recently defeated their opponent in their last week pretty handedly 2 weeks ago here at home. They took down Purdue in a pretty lopsided contest. They've really turned up after the start to the season derailed a bit by injuries. And on the flip side, Ohio State losing last weekend to Michigan in a very close contest. We've seen 25-22 and 25-23 on separate reports. But no matter how you cut it, Chris, they were really close with the Wolverines, who were also really close with the Irish.
Yeah, certainly. I'm really curious to see how Ohio State fares with a very new roster. They lost 6 first-team Big Ten selections from the fall last season. They have all graduated. They'll also have lost a plethora of second-teamers and honorable mentions as well. And you look at Maximus Clark. He was the MVP in the Big Ten. He's no longer with this Ohio State program. He's out in the real world. He's still playing rugby, but it's really tough when you lose a bunch of players and you have to find your identity, especially early in the season. There's growing pains. I think that's what the Buckeyes have had experience so far, and now they really need to start to gel together because there is no time to waste.
Yeah, you look at this Ohio State roster, as Chris mentioned, 9 of the 15 starters are either freshmen or sophomores. Only 4 seniors on the entire 23-man roster, so a lot of youth, a lot of inexperience. And we'll see if Notre Dame can capitalize. Of course, Notre Dame's team a little bit different than last year when these two teams met as well, but the piece is still there for the Irish.
Yeah, well, they lost Tom Bowman, who was first team All Big Ten, one of the best players in the country. I always call him the bowling ball. He would just power through guys. He was an absolute menace. They lost Pat McKenzie, who was huge in the middle of the park for the Irish, as well as Jackson Graham and John Barnes. But they got Jack Waterhouse. They got Jack Dunn. And they have Zach Banton as well. They have superstars. I think Notre Dame's big three of Waterhouse, Dunn, and Banton go up there against anybody, any team in the country. And especially when you hone in on Waterhouse, he is a top 5 player in the country with another big performance tonight. There could be serious talk that this guy is the #1 player in the nation.
Yeah, he'll be in number 8 in green, and first time we're going to see him on the field at the same time as Zach Banton, who's one of Notre Dame's best players, finally getting his first start of the season. He'll be 11 in green, so look out for 8 and 11. And Jack Dunn, who Chris also mentioned, the junior from Dublin, wearing number 9. So some key players for the Irish. For Ohio State, you got to look in the middle. Ian Fairfield, the captain, number 5. Jaden Williams, number 6. They're going to have to carry the team tonight, Chris.
Yeah, we were talking a bit about Jaden Williams. I'm really impressed with this guy's resume. As a freshman, he was named to the first team. I'm talking about all these conference mentions from last year because both teams were just filled with them. Jaden Williams, first team as a freshman, also has played for the U.S. U19s. Really successful career so far, and he's a guy just headed straight to the top. Really physical player. I think he's going to give these Notre Dame attackers a tough time on defense, and then when he's attacking with the ball, there is just no stopping him. Notre Dame needs to be well structured defensively in order to counter just the pure power from Jaden Williams.
Yeah, Williams in the middle, the sophomore, wearing number 6 tonight. Ohio State in a little bit of a, I don't even know how you would describe those jerseys, almost like a scrapbook jersey. You got some red, you got some black and white stripes, you got some solid black down the obliques. You got, of course, Notre Dame, the Irish wear green weekend.
I do like their emblem. The Ohio State emblem is really cool, but I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of these jerseys. I do love the Irish green. I always think that's a great look. And Notre Dame, the football team tomorrow is wearing green. Don't know if you saw that news, but that's going to be always, it's a fun time. I mean, crowds is great for those Irish wear green games. And we have a lot of people here in attendance. This is what's great about Notre Dame rugby. You play on the Friday, a lot of people in town waiting for that football game. They come in to watch Notre Dame rugby, and they fall in love with it.
Yeah, that's generally how it works. Once you watch it for the first time, you don't go back. So we're about 5 minutes in. And it's been a pretty choppy first 5 minutes, couple drop passes for both sides. Here's the line out that was not straight as the Buckeyes and Vincent Mateo make the error with possession. So we'll see. Notre Dame looks like they're going to go for the scrum most likely. Or actually, indication is they want their own line out. And they discuss a play. Matt Williams will throw it in for Notre Dame from the same spot. And the Irish 4-1. Ohio State 1-3, but you're going to get the best Buckeyes tonight. Coming off that tough loss to the Wolverines, you know they're going to be ready to go. And Williams finds Waterhouse on the line out. Notre Dame's offense will get to work, trying to split through, and nearly doing so is Brendan Lucy. Ball loose for a second. Penalty against Ohio State will back them up. And so Notre Dame will get a chance to kick it into touch. And we are still 0-0 here at Stinson Rugby Field. Sun setting, lights on, and the kick is up. That one may not get into touch. Well done by the Buckeyes to keep it inbounds. Oliver Widener found a teammate. That one's kicked up near us, right off one of the spectators in attendance. Pretty good crowd here tonight, Chris. You don't always see the bleachers this full. You don't usually see red and green intermingled like this, but certainly have to be anticipating a good atmosphere this evening, no matter the teams, but especially tonight considering the rivalry.
Yeah, not many people from Notre Dame like Ohio State, and the same can be said the other way around. It's going to be a hectic night of rugby. These two teams really, really don't like each other, especially after last year.
Yeah, two absolutely amazing games last year. Notre Dame winning on a full 7-point try and conversion walk-off, going from trailing by 6 to coming away victorious. And then in the Big Ten championship game, a back-and-forth second half with lead changes galore. And it was the Buckeyes who came away with the victory and the championship trophy, stealing it away from the Irish on their own home turf, which is where we are again tonight. And it's a new season, new story, and right now two teams in very different spots, Chris. And boy, would this go a long way for the Buckeyes this season.
It really would, especially as they head into the back half of their Big Ten conference schedule. But if you beat Notre Dame, it also instills you with all the confidence in the world, as we got a bit of a rolling ball. Notre Dame loves this, and they're pushing Waterhouse, Charlie.
Yeah, they really do love this play, and it's going to result in Matt Williams slipping through, downs it, and Notre Dame is on the board first. It's 5-0. It's almost like you couldn't even tell where the ball was in that rolling maul, and all of a sudden it's in Williams' hands, and he's downing it in the try zone.
Yeah, it tricked the Ohio State defense. What I love the most is the energy of Matt Williams after that try. He breaks free, and that is just so tough for Ohio State. It's a really well-executed piece of rugby by Notre Dame. And then Matt Williams, this is celebration. So much energy. This Notre Dame team is ready. You can tell they've been waiting for this game.
So 5-0 Irish and a chance to make it 7 as Colin Artis will put it on a tee. So Ohio State huddles beyond the goalpost. Haven't really seen their offense too much to start. Of course, the inaccurate lineout certainly doesn't help, and that's true from Artis. So 7-0 Notre Dame, they score first. Just about 7.5 minutes in. Notre Dame winners of 3 in a row. Only lost this season to a very good Walsh team, currently ranked number 12 in the country. The women's team, Chris, number 1 on the NCR rankings. Notre Dame and Michigan, who we've been somehow bringing up in every single sentence tonight, the only 2 schools with programs in the top 20 in both men's and women's top division rugby. And Notre Dame off to a good start here on the men's side tonight. And we're about to receive another kickoff. It's going to be end over end, gathered in nicely by the Irish and Luke Engel. Buckeyes trying to tackle him into touch, Chris. Go ahead.
The ball's been played a lot on the near side of the pitch right now, and you can see with Williams, Waterhouse, some of the players they're trying to work with. You kind of forget that Zach Banton's on the opposite side of the field. He is waiting for the ball. So I'm very intrigued about how they're going to use their dynamo of a player in Zach Banton, because once you give him the ball, the game just changes. It flips right over. Notre Dame need to look for Banton out wide, diversify their offense a little if they want to keep racking up these tries here early on.
Yeah, Banton, not only a speedster, but a master eluder, if that makes sense. He's very hard to tackle, even for players, the rare player who can keep up with his speed. Saw a lot of him in 7-on-7s last spring, but even some in the 15-on-15. He is electric, and there he is missing a tackle as the Buckeyes move ahead past midfield. Pass into the middle, lands in the hands of Sam Locker. Ohio State looking for the equalizer. There's a strong tackle, as there's Ian Fairfield trying to make it happen with the ball. A little bit of a fake kick there. Moved ahead, Oliver Widener. A little bit of space in the middle for Fairfield. Quick pass off, and a good tackle made is nearly breaking through. His Locker does give it off. As the Ohio State offense gains some momentum. A little bit of a high tackle, and yes, Ohio State playing with advantage right now, as Lucy got caught trying to tackle Patty McMahon up by the neck. So advantage Buckeyes. And we'll play till they either score or lose possession. Oh, nice passing play. Breaking free is Tommy Kilbane, one man to beat. And he's tackled from behind. All the way near the 5. That pass is errant. And finally, we're going to get a scrum. That's a knock-on against the Irish. And all of a sudden, the Buckeyes posted up in prime territory.
Yeah, their dugout is erupting right now. A really patient piece of offense from Ohio State. Weren't forcing anything and waited for their turn. Exploited as soon as they got that opportunity.
Still a lot of work to do, but you couldn't ask for much more in response to the Notre Dame try by Matt Williams. So we approach the 28-minute mark in the first half. It's been an exciting start. Kind of a feeling out process for just a few minutes, Chris, but since then, these teams showing their talent, especially on offense.
Yeah, it's especially with Ohio State in the past few minutes. I mean, didn't really see much of them in the first 10. Now they're showing some life here.
Now they get inside the 5 over on the far side. Just a matter of pick it up and try to dive forward now. See if they can successfully down it. Can't get much closer than that. Still no signal from the referee. About 20 of the 30 players on the field in one small circle. And the Buckeyes have scored a try. Hard work and persistence, and Ohio State is right back in it. Instant response.
I'm in love with that possession from Ohio State. They've had the ball now for about 3 minutes. Really patient in the build-up, as I mentioned earlier. And it was just working on the far side of the field. They moved it back to the near side of the pitch about 2 minutes ago. They were able to break the lines a few times. Just meter by meter, they've really worked through that possession, and it paid off. I think we're about to have a tie ball game as long as this kick is good.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Ohio State kicking the ball, but this one is up and through to tie the game. And that try scored by none other than Jaden Williams, who you highlighted, Chris. And he was the one who picked it up and just got far enough to get it to the try line and down. So 7-7 game, with still plenty of time in the first half and just the start we were hoping for.
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. Funny enough, the Big Ten championship game last year at halftime, I don't know if you remember the score. I'm going to quiz you right now. What was the score at halftime of that game?
Well, thankfully you mentioned it pregame, and I remember.
Okay.
7-0 was
it was
the score.
7-0, so we've already seen more points in the first 15 here at Stinson than we did all throughout that first half.
I'll quiz you in return. What was the score at halftime of the game at Ohio State?
At Ohio State, well, considering it was an away game, I really couldn't tell you.
I couldn't either. I was just wondering if you knew, but
that
certainly
is something I would know usually, but no, unfortunately this time I don't.
79 combined points in that game, so you have to imagine that this is trending a little bit in that direction. Of course, still a long time to go, and you have to imagine the defenses are going to settle in, but both teams showing what they can do on offense. Notre Dame, their favorite play, the rolling maul. Ohio State, couple passes, couple line breaks, very persistent, very clean, no offensive penalties, and that's why we have a 7-7 game right now.
That's exactly why. It's nice to see just high-quality rugby. It's very, very appealing to the eye.
Certainly is. See if the Buckeyes can maybe build off of that score, get a little momentum going. And now the Irish trying to get it right back as Engel went in alone. There's a strong tackle. Buckeyes playing with advantage again. It's Williams to his left. And a little bit of assertive running from Isaac Ricker. Before the ball is dropped, and that's going to be a knock-on against Ohio State. Their first real mistake of the game. Certainly the first since the not straight line out way back when. And that's going to set Notre Dame up with the ball on the offensive side of midfield.
Zach Banton is lurking right now. The ball will likely end up in his hands after Waterhouse receives it here.
If you're just joining us, first time Jack Waterhouse and Zach Banton starting at the same time for Notre Dame. Waterhouse finally, after 2 years derailed by injury, showing his full potential. Banton, after some off-season inconsistency, he's back. Here he is with the ball, trying to split through. Gets back to his feet before going down again. Two of the most talented players in college rugby. Certainly Notre Dame's best, too, when they're on their A games. Oh, look at that creative pass. Almost a no-look feed. Set play for Notre Dame is here's Guinan, who will try to find Artist. It bounces. It's not going to be a knock-on because it went backwards. So Notre Dame retains possession. They catch a break. Dunn in the middle for Waterhouse. He just puts his head down and goes. Or excuse me, that was Michael Miataszewski moving it forward. Dribbling kick, but that's going to go into touch. Not a bad idea, but Ohio State's defense gets a big stop. And they'll get the ball right back as we're approaching the halfway mark of half number one. 7-7 game between Notre Dame and Ohio State, a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game. Thanks for joining us this evening on the Notre Dame Rugby YouTube channel. Charlie Morris, my partner, is Chris Daly, and Chris, you see something.
Yeah, I do see something. Notre Dame's had a lot of success defensively on lineouts this season, going back to that Texas A&M game and against Purdue. They won a lot. See what happens here.
Pretty well executed by the Buckeyes. Before the ball is dropped in and out of the hands of McMahon. Just took his eye off the ball, so it'll go as a knock-on.
Yeah, a lot of times Notre Dame will bring Waterhouse up to try to intercept the ball. That time, it was just quick pressure. They didn't even apply anything with the aerial attack. And then they had about 4 shirts just crash in like a swarm of bees. Gave OSU absolutely no chance after that second offload.
Sometimes you'll see Notre Dame go quick off that play, but instead they go for the scrum here. And Jack Dunn's going to feed it through.
Banton's got space once again out to the right.
Here's Waterhouse the other way to the left. Good tackle. Tries to feed it from his back. Ball's kicked around. And a knock on against Notre Dame, as kind of laying on the ground was done. And now some conversation as Waterhouse getting into it with Williams, and those two continue to jaw. Two of the best players on the field. Certainly no friendships out there between these two. Can't say it enough. I mean, you don't have to look at just rugby to know why these two schools are pretty big rivals.
Yeah, both.
Buckeyes getting the better of the Irish in a lot of sports lately.
I know, it's been unfortunate for Notre Dame. Go to the national championship in football. The iconic 10 men on the field game for Notre Dame. Feels like it just keeps on coming for the Irish.
The Buckeyes with some space, trying to get the edge, and breaking free is Jack Lang. And Lang is going to be pulled up, stays in bounds. Nice work. Good offensive possession. A little bit of a counter ruck from Notre Dame, trying to make it happen, but Ohio State does stay with it. Chris, even in men's lacrosse, Ohio State beat Notre Dame last year. That's supposed to be Notre Dame's sport. It's supposed to be a lacrosse school.
And in hockey as well.
Oh, well, they beat us 4 times in hockey last year. That was pretty much a blowout. Of course, you don't see these two teams play in a lot of sports because Notre Dame's in the ACC for most, but in hockey and in rugby, they are conference opponents in the Big Ten, and then sometimes you get the non-conference game, such as in men's lacrosse. But no matter how you cut it, Ohio State has had Notre Dame's number athletically in the last year or two. And another penalty against Notre Dame. And maybe an Irish player hurt.
Well, Artis seems very confused right now. He's not pleased with the call. The Irish had won the ball, and it seems like right away, ref blows his whistle again. Irish aren't happy. They got to channel this now into a performance on the pitch here. You got to utilize that, especially defensively. Just need to be better structured. A couple times they've been opening up a few gaps that Ohio State have been able to exploit. And physically as well, Notre Dame has bigger guys. Ohio State, also a lot of just huge human beings on this team. So they need to win the battle of the trenches inside the middle of the park.
Yeah, they're going to go for the kick for points here. Trying to take the 10-7 lead. It's something they will do with frequency. That has the distance, and it has the accuracy. Nice boot. And Ohio State jumps into the lead with their 10th straight unanswered point as they turn the Artis penalty into 3.
It's funny, I never know how to feel about that. I love the idea of taking the points. You give yourself a lead, all of a sudden it's 10-7, and it's the first half. But then I go back to the Big Ten championship game last year. Notre Dame on the other side of the pitch. Speaking of the man himself, Artis, he had a kick, made the game 17-14 with 10 minutes left. If Notre Dame were to possess the ball and work it inside their Ohio State's 22, they could have maybe punched it in for a try, chewed off some of the clock, and they would have won that game. Could we see the same thing here where Ohio State maybe could have gotten a try there? I mean, it's history now, but it is earlier in the game, and the Buckeyes will decide just to take the points.
Yeah, and I think one thing that may play a factor, Chris, as well, is the fact that now a try puts you up by 2 scores regardless of the success of your conversion kick. So I think that has to play a factor as well, and why the Buckeyes may have gone for that 3-point kick. And so now a line out for Notre Dame at just about midfield. Bobbled a bit, but picked up by Engel. Engel, a couple side steps. Williams trying to drag him down, also wrapped up by the ankles by Kilbane. Pretty strong running here from Yadashevsky to get it back near midfield. Pass in traffic. Ball's loose for a second, picked up by Connor Mulligan. Mulligan trying to be stripped from behind by Lang. Maybe a rolling maul. Irish don't have the numbers for it. And now it'll be kicked into safety. See if it takes a bounce. Takes a bounce toward the touchline. It will go out of bounds, and the Buckeyes will certainly take that. Notre Dame relieves some pressure. Buckeyes get the ball back uncontested with 16 and a half to go in the first half. There's the moon out, the lights on, the sun has officially set in South Bend, Indiana. Days only getting shorter. Weather's still nice, though. I'm in my short sleeves. You're in some short sleeves.
I think that's global warming, Charlie. It's 80 degrees in fall.
I remember when I was a freshman 3 years ago, I was wearing my winter coat at this time of year.
Yeah, it is
You won't
crazy,
see that
isn't it?
from me this year. Of course, on the flip side, though, on the other end, it was cold until late April, almost finals week on this campus last year. So
it is true.
Something to keep in mind. Every spring, I'm always like, oh, I can't wait for it to get warm, and it never gets warm.
Never does.
Got to take advantage of the warmth now in October.
That's some food for thought right there. Notre Dame has not been inside OSU's 22-meter zone in a long time. Might be since their try. I mean, I haven't really seen Notre Dame cross to 22 in
here we
a
go.
significant portion of this game now.
They go for the maul again to try to get there. I think you're right. I don't think they've been inside the 22 since the try. Now they're running into each other. But Ohio State, the penalty, Notre Dame will get a tap and go or a kick into touch. We'll see what they go for. I have to imagine they're going to kick it and try to gain some field position, go for the line out. And that is, in fact, what they're going for with Engel. Gets it to the 5. Made that look very casual, but very accurate kick.
This game is absolute trench warfare. These guys are tired. We still got 14 left on the clock here in the first half. Huffing and puffing. Somebody's going to need to just dig a little deeper. That's really what it's going to take. Who can find that extra gear? Notre Dame haven't seen a whole lot of Philip Guinan in the middle of the field. And I think he's one of their most crucial players. Saw that against Texas A&M with his 2 assists, using his feet. Haven't seen a whole lot of Zach Banton either.
It might be a situation for a maul here for the Irish, and that's exactly what they go for. Ohio State was ready for it this time. They're right by the try line, and they're in for the score. And I think it's Williams with his 2nd of the game.
That's exactly who it is, Charlie. Same type of play, too. A rolling maul into a Matt Williams try.
I don't know how he got that ball to the ground. Trying to watch the replay on our stream. I mean, you had to know that the maul was coming, line out from the 5. Certainly no surprise about that one. Ohio State had the bodies there, but Williams kind of did the same thing. He kind of just took it out of the hands of, I believe it was Collie Erden, and kind of said, hey, I'll take it from here. Found a way to get to the ground.
Yeah, Luke Engel was involved in the mix-up, and Ohio State just kept getting pushed back before Matt Williams, who really couldn't even see. His head was clearly down, just trying to drive through a couple of guys, able to find the try zone.
So Williams, 2, Ohio State 1 in terms of tries. The score remains 12-10 after the kick is hooked wide left by Colin Artis. His brother Drew also in the starting lineup tonight. Twin seniors for Notre Dame, getting a chance to play with each other with great consistency this season. And Notre Dame set to get it back. It'll be kicked deep by the Buckeyes. And taken by Jack Waterhouse, who's going to find a way to get the edge. And Waterhouse is into the 2nd level. He knocks another man down all the way across midfield before finally going to the ground. And now a pass, Andrew Cansfield, but Notre Dame obstruction called. And that's going to give the ball right back to the Buckeyes. Certainly looked like that pass was into traffic, and the referee blows it dead.
Well, you can see the spark that Jack Waterhouse provides. He made not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 guys miss. 2 of them just fall flat, and then he keeps on running and just runs right through another Ohio State defender.
Now we're going to get a kick here, Chris. I've never seen this before. He's going to try a kick, and he being Tommy Kilbane from his own half of the field. Now, this would be the most impressive kick I have ever seen, regardless of any angle on any conversion kick before. Kilbane's going to go for it. And it's almost through, just a little short. And now it'll be kicked back the other way by Notre Dame. Certainly worth the effort. Ohio State playing the field position game. Pretty accurate kick from Kilbane, but never really had a chance from that far away.
Yeah, I guess he's been watching a lot of Notre Dame grad Brandon Aubrey highlights as of late.
Or Spencer Schrader.
Or Spencer Schrader, that's right. Two of the best kickers in the NFL right now.
I think I might have to invest in Schrader on my fantasy team.
Oh.
Evan McPherson not getting the job done. You a fantasy football player?
I am, but not very good this season, unfortunately. I have a really rough go at it in the Big 2-5, so I'm just kind of waiting until next season, and we'll be back, hopefully. But student media fantasy football, it's not looking good for me.
Not looking good. Well, could be worse. You could be a Malik Neighbors fantasy owner. That was a high draft
Could be worse.
pick
It could be a
wasted.
New York Giants fan, which I am, as we do have an injury on the field. It's
Yeah,
Cansfield, and that
Andrew
does not look
Cansfield.
good. Notre Dame's going to keep playing now.
Yeah, with 14, as Banton trying to get to the edge. He's going to be thwarted backward and tackled near the touchline. And, in fact, into touch, and the whistle stops play as the training staff already on the field attending to Andrew Cansfield as their dugout gets excited for the good defensive play. But now the concern goes to Notre Dame's big junior.
Yeah, this is never a good sight. We really hope Cansfield is okay. I mean, these guys are as tough as nails, and this is just such a grueling sport. This is a grueling game. I mean, the physicality between both of these sides right now is unreal. So, as we mentioned, hope Andrew is okay and can walk off the pitch here.
Yeah, he's going to limp off, trying to do it on his own power, which it looks like he will struggle with, but be able to. And so a nice applause from the fans in attendance for Andrew Cansfield, the 250-pound junior out of Toronto, Ontario.
It looks like Matt Scariano is going to check into the game.
So now he'll be responsible for the middle of the pitch. So you get a look at the coaching and training staff keeping their eyes on Andrew Cansfield. So Ohio State executes their line out well, and they'll go back to work on offense. Nice little juke move, and then it's kicked away. That one's going to go way into touch. And it's going to be kicked. Wow, that's a mistake, as Widener didn't let it bounce, so Notre Dame's going to get great field position out of that, as he kicked it straight out. 12-10, Notre Dame leading. Here in half number one at Stinson Rugby Field, a rematch of the Big Ten championship game last year. Two teams that very much so do not like each other. We've heard dugouts going at each other. We've heard players, we've seen players on the field kind of going back and forth. And Notre Dame's going back to the maul. See if maybe Ohio State tries to push them backward a little bit. And now to the maul. Irish at the 22. Pretty strong tackling there. Williams involved. Notre Dame playing with advantage, however. And now they will get the advantage for not rolling away.
Penalty to Notre Dame, Ohio State not rolling away.
Maybe a tap and go. Oh, kick for points coming for Notre Dame as they look to extend their lead to a full try from a pretty good spot on the pitch. And Colin Artis will take the tee and try to give Notre Dame a 5-point lead. Pick is up, and it is through. Well executed by Artis, and Notre Dame extends their lead to 15-10. And they take advantage of the mistake by Widener.
Yeah, we've slowly been starting to see Notre Dame show their class as the superior team. And it's funny because you look back to the Texas A&M game, it was a 14-7 game at half.
Yeah, 7-7 game late in the first half.
Yeah, and then Notre Dame won that game 38-12. It wasn't even close. They exploded in the second. I wonder what the dynamics of the second half is going to look like. I do believe Ohio State will give them much more of a challenge. They have some really great ball players on this team, but it raises the question. I mean, Notre Dame, are they a team that kind of sticks in it for the first half, especially, when the other team has fresh legs, and then they're able to dominate in the second? And it's going to be a big storyline we're going to talk about after, these final 7 minutes and then in the next 40.
That one is kicked basically straight up in the air. Going to be a challenge, but gathered in well. Going up for it was Mark French for the Buckeyes.
Notre Dame needs to get structured defensively. There were some shots from Miatashevsky. He didn't like the line that he saw from Notre Dame's defense. And looks like they're able to flip it right back into favor of Miatashevsky, though, and they'll be happy as they win the ball back.
Yeah, penalty against the Buckeyes. And Notre Dame has it back. Certainly feels like they've retaken control of this game. After scoring first, it was really all Ohio State for a good portion of this game. But Notre Dame getting that line out, getting that rolling maul to retake the lead on the second try of the game by Matt Williams. They also get the 3 points from Colin Artis, and now with a 5-point lead, have the ball back in plus territory. Certainly been a very close game. You wouldn't know that these two teams have very different records right now based on what we've seen.
No, you really wouldn't. I've been very impressed by Ohio State. Wasn't too sure what to expect after having talked to their head coach, Pete Malcolm, before. He did express that, yeah, it's been a rough start to the season, but this is the game where they need to get it together. And from an on-field perspective, I think he could be happy. I mean, Notre Dame is one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, I've been impressed too, Chris, with the way they've battled. They've certainly very high energy level, which you knew, but their offense I've been impressed with, even though it's been brief spurts. That one's going to be kicked, and it's going to end up in the try zone. And finally, touchdown by Widener, not risking kicking it away this time.
Yeah, and just a real quick note on Pete Malcolm, who I was talking about before. He was a Wheeling guy, graduated from Wheeling in 2017, played in the MLR for years, played for the U.S. Eagles. He's Eagle number 505. And just a great guy, now starting to build this program. He's in his second year, technically the first as the full-time head coach, I believe. I know he was with Tom Rooney last year, who's still an assistant with the team. Rooney's been with the program for well over 30 years now. And Ohio State has recruited well. They have a ton of young guys. You talked about it before. 15 of the 23 guys in the 23-man list for them are underclassmen today.
Yeah, only 4 juniors and 4 seniors on the roster. 10 sophomores, 5 freshmen, including 8 of those sophomores in the starting lineup. So a very good class of 2028 for this Ohio State team. Trying to get that valuable experience while also picking up some wins here in 2025. After the knock-on by Notre Dame, they'll get the ball back as we tick down under 5 to play in the first half. Busy day of sports this weekend for Notre Dame, so we thank you for tuning in tonight. Could also be watching the women's soccer team. They're up 3-1 on Louisville right now, and at the conclusion of that game, the men's team will play in what should be a good one against Virginia Tech. Of course, football tomorrow. As here's Zach Banton breaking free of one tackle, cutting it all the way wide, gets back up after being tackled, trying to get to the edge, and Banton is going to get to the edge before being tackled into touch at the 5. So pretty explosive run, giving you an indication of the kind of talent that Banton has, but at the end of the day, great work by a last-ditch Ohio State defense to keep him out of the try zone.
That was a hard hit Banton took. That will knock the wind out of you. And listen, it was a great run, but I maybe would like to see him just offload the ball right there. You make 3, 4 guys miss. Think about that. That's 3 to 4 guys that aren't on a man now. You have 3 to 4 guys that are open teammates. You got to offload the ball and then let them attack. But again, so much credit to Ban. That was a terrific run.
And it's going to lead to a score for Jack Waterhouse, who picked off the line out and in for the try. And Notre Dame's star gets on the board using his height and then using his reach.
Well, so much for me being a negative Nancy about Zach Ban offloading the ball, earlier, because end of the day, it leads to this great piece of defense from Waterhouse. Said this earlier against Texas A&M and Purdue. Something Notre Dame did a lot was lift Waterhouse up. He's a guy who's at least 6'4". I mean, looking right here, Jack Waterhouse, 6'6", actually, 240 pounds of pure muscle. This guy's a beast. He's a Springbok U20, one of the best players in college rugby, and he always seems to come up with a big play. Well done from the tandem, Banton and Waterhouse. You wanted to see them together. There you go.
So 2010, Notre Dame doubling up Ohio State. They've scored 13 unanswered points, I should say, since falling behind 12-7. And so Jack Waterhouse with his first try of this game. He's now scored in every single home game this season for the Irish. Under 2 minutes until the half. Could there be more scoring potentially for either team? As here's Waterhouse again, nearly breaking free, but he is tackled by the legs by Seamus Kennedy for Ohio State. Just now back to his feet as Kennedy gets back in position. Waterhouse certainly feeling the effects of that hit. All the way out wide, and the edge. There's a nice run by Owen Portelli. Now it's kicked away. Kicked back. Notre Dame fans wanted a penalty. They're not going to get it. And Artis is going to kick it high towards the touchline. That's going to stay in play. Where it is dropped. And they're going to let them keep playing. Wow, Isaac Ricker may have gotten away with a knock-on there.
I think he did get away with a knock-on there.
Now it's going to be called back, actually, after a referee consult with the line judge. And actually, our clock a little bit delayed. That's going to be the end of the first half. So all of that, and we go into break with a 20-10 score. Notre Dame in front. They scored 13 straight to end the half. We'll step aside briefly. When we come back, we got the best part of the night coming up. Second half awaits. Stay with us. And welcome back. Second half about set to get underway here at Stinson Rugby Field. A beautiful Friday night on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. Charlie Morris, my partner is Chris Daly. 20-10 for the Irish after 40 minutes. Chris, what's your biggest takeaway from the first half?
Well, I got quite a fair few, but I think this is just a really physical game overall. I had a pleasure watching that first half. And Jack Waterhouse, guy is a tank. We've seen him run through people. We've seen him score a try at the end of the half to put Notre Dame up 20-10. And I think that's been all the difference. Just these moments of individual brilliance from Notre Dame, as well as Zach Banton's run to set up that try. There's so many times. It's been some of these stars on Notre Dame who've just shown too bright for Ohio State.
Yeah, it feels like it was a very even half, Chris, and yet Notre Dame walks away with the 2-score lead. And I'm just wondering, is that if Ohio State, I feel like they played a very good first half and yet they're still down. Do you think they have another gear, or do you think this is Notre Dame's half to lose?
Well, yes, it's Notre Dame's half to lose because you're up 10 points, but I do think Ohio State has another gear. This is a really talented team. Was not sure what to expect. They had a rough start to the season. But you can see there's a willpower about this team. They're well coached. They're very disciplined defensively. They're disciplined on offense. We have seen a few knock-ons and mistakes here and there, but it's just what you're going to get. And I think overall, they're the best team we've seen at Stinson Rugby Field this season going against Notre Dame.
Yeah, certainly would agree with that. And as you pointed out at the end of the first half, Notre Dame versus Texas A&M was very close after 40 minutes before the Irish pulled away. Have to imagine it would be a little bit tougher in this game to pull away. As you mentioned, all the talent that Ohio State has, they're obviously very well coached as well. And you know that they're going to come out flying to start this half, trying to get, message in the locker room, the metaphoric locker room, of course. It was only a 10-minute halftime, but the message has got to be something along the lines of, we played well, we're in it, we get one try, and you were right back in it. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. This is a two-possession game. All it takes for Ohio State is one moment of breakthrough. However, we have not seen them cross that 22-meter line in quite some time. I said the same thing about Notre Dame in the first half, and then they went out and scored a few tries. Now I'm saying that about Ohio State. We'll see if it happens. I don't know if I'm some sort of good luck charm for these teams out there, and I hope I am. I would like to see a really close, high-scoring game today.
Yeah, certainly love the offense. I know you do, but they don't even have to get inside the 22 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State got the ball, went for the kick. If it's still this score and Notre Dame commits a penalty at about the 10-meter line on Notre Dame's defensive side of midfield, or somewhere between the 22 and that dashed line, I have to imagine Ohio State would strongly consider the kick to bring this to a one-possession game.
Yeah, they 100% would, and they're not going to be scared to use it because we've seen it before. They know it works. They have some great kickers on their team, and they just need to get an opportunity to do so. I mean, they have to cross the halfway line. They have to cross the 22-meter line, and they need to find opportunities. I mean, I just haven't seen any out of Ohio State. They played well, but you got to find that extra gear, as you said.
Yeah, I certainly think it's there. And on the flip side, if you're Notre Dame, you get the first try of this half, you're all but putting it close to out of reach. Of course, a lot of time, still 36 minutes and change in the half, but a 3-possession lead would go a long way for the Irish.
Not to be a broken record, but you got to find Zach Banton. I mean, Zach Banton literally made 5 guys just go the other way. He's got an elegance about him out on the pitch that no other player really has. Waterhouse is more of a bruiser rather than Banton, who just dances around guys. And if you put the ball in his hands, he will gain you a solid 15 meters every single time. So I would like for Notre Dame to look to this far or near side of the pitch on your screen and look for number 11 in green.
Here's number 10, Philip Guinan, as there's an Ohio State player injured. See if they let play continue to go on, and they will. The Buckeyes get a nice run back, but the ball's loose for a second, picked up. That's going to be a knock-on against Ohio State as the injured player gets back up. I don't even think a sub was made. I think he's just limping back into position. Maybe Ian Fairfield. Couldn't quite tell who was down. Now a substitution. And some Notre Dame players clapping in the face of the Ohio State players. I think there's going to be a conversation between the captains and the referee, or at least between somebody on both teams. The referee kind of sorting it out. Colin Artis there for the Irish. It looks like Seamus Kennedy for the Buckeyes, saying like, hey guys, I know the tensions are high here, but let's settle down and play some rugby.
Yeah, tensions are high because Ohio State is 1-3. We talked about this a lot in the first half. This is a must-win game for the Buckeyes. Right now they're down by 10. They're going to start to get antsy here.
Really good kick. Look at that spot. The Irish go from their half of the field to down near the 10, the 5. What a kick. This is rolling maul potential.
It is. Notre Dame has scored twice, thanks to Matt Williams, who has just picked off these rolling mauls.
Could we see it? Of course, it's always nice when you got 6'6" Jack Waterhouse to basically guarantee you the line out. But this one's caught by Ingle, and here comes that maul. They get it inside the 5. It breaks free a little bit. Can they down it? Yes, they can. No, they cannot. What defense by the Buckeyes. Both teams started to celebrate, but it's the Buckeye celebration that lasts a bit longer. And a defensive stand, a big one at that, keeps it to a 10-point game. What a play by the Ohio State defense early in half number 2.
That's what's held them together. That's why it's still a 20-10 game. They are really disciplined defensively, very well coached, hold their own defensively. And Ohio State with a great play. Now their season doesn't get much easier from here, Charlie. Looking ahead for Ohio State, they do play Michigan State, who Notre Dame just destroyed. So I think Ohio State should be good in that one. But then they play Life. Life is one of the best rugby programs in the country. They play Southern Virginia. I think the Buckeyes are favored in that one. But then their final game of the season is against Mary Washington, and that's definitely going to pose some issues as Mary Washington beat them in April 71-zip.
Penalty against the Notre Dame offense. You're right, the schedule does not get much easier than that, or much harder than that, I should say. It doesn't get any easier after this. Of course, this is a big one for them. They'll be playing their 2 games as favorites at home, and then they'll have to go on the road, so that also doesn't help, that they'll be visiting Mary Washington and visiting Life. Look at the flip side for the Irish. They got a tough one coming up against Marion after this, and then their final game on the schedule is on October 17th, home against Illinois. They will play beyond that, but those are the only scheduled games right now for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I should make a distinction there. The Big Ten Rugby Conference Championship, the weekend is the November 1st weekend and the weekend of the 8th as well. They play Mary Washington the weekend after that. So technically that game is kind of after the conference playoffs. I don't know how that's going to work, but I mean, it's still on the schedule, and it's going to be a tough game for them.
Yeah, good point, as I wasn't even looking at the dates, looking at the schedule, but you mention it. As the Buckeyes offense gets finally inside that 22, trying to use the momentum from the big defensive stand. And a nice little fake and nearly breaking through is Mateo. Gets it down to the 5 about. Strong running for Davey Kotnick. Buckeyes knocking on the door. Here's Williams, wrapped up immediately. And it's picked off by the Irish. But Ohio State was playing with advantage. Nearly a gimme 5 for Artis. But the penalty against Notre Dame, and Ohio State can exhale.
Talk about a gut punch for Notre Dame. That surely could have sealed the deal. And Ohio State knocking on the door indeed. Getting close. Got to lower your center of gravity here and just find a way to power through this Notre Dame team. You know, the offloads are a little scary here because every time you go back a meter or two, got to be really smart and tactical about when you release the ball.
Just about half an hour left in this match. Scrum for the Buckeyes. And picked up and moved towards the middle by McMahon. Leaves it behind him. Through the legs pass. Finds Widener. And it's dropped. The offload dropped by Ohio State. And now Notre Dame will play with advantage. And it's going to be kicked high and away. And now another knock on. And the mistakes compounding for Ohio State as their best chance to score their second try of the game goes by the wayside.
Yeah, the initial knock on from Sam Lacker, who's a junior. And you said it, Charlie. I mean, they have not been within 5 meters often today. They haven't been within 22 meters a whole lot either. You got to capitalize on those chances, especially against a stingy Notre Dame defense, a team. You know, I talk about how Ohio State's well coached. Well, Justin Hickey's one of the best coaches in the country, and he's not going to allow that too much. So it's unfortunate for Ohio State. You got to be able to finish it off there, and especially when it's a self-inflicted mistake that really hurts.
Yeah, they had a really clean first half offensively as Waterhouse is going to be dragged from behind. There's a really, really nice tackle. Great defense, and I believe that was Locker, so he makes up for that mistake.
It was.
Yeah.
Making up for it.
That was an unbelievable pursuit and tackle as Waterhouse nearly broke and got to the final line of defense. But as I was saying, Chris, very clean first half for Ohio State, and on that sequence, they got bailed out, almost throwing the interception, and then they couldn't get bailed out on the knock-on from within the 5. So just a couple mistakes that you weren't expecting to see. If you're a Buckeye fan, you know that they play clean 90% of the time, but that 10% came up at the worst possible moment.
Yeah, the desperation now for Ohio State is just starting to grow bigger and bigger. And I think that's going to make this game a whole lot more interesting, as this pursuit from the Buckeyes is just relentless.
Still no scoring in the second half. 20-10 in the game.
It's not like the second halves we've seen in which Notre Dame just dominates, though.
Certainly not. This has been tooth and nail. Both teams had great chances to score. Both defenses came up with clutch stops. Now it's the Buckeyes again. Williams is drawn backward. There's a strong tackle as Waterhouse makes a play on defense.
Well, Waterhouse and Williams have been going at it today, both verbally and physically right there. Waterhouse with a little push after that tackle.
And there's a great kick for the Irish to get good field position as it bounces into touch. Line out coming. And could we see a maul coming, Chris?
I think that's exactly what we're going to see. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Now, do you piece off with Matt Williams? That's the question, because Ohio State does know who they have to look out for. It's number 2 in green, Matt Williams, who scored 2 tries today off the rolling mauls in this exact situation, a line out right around the 5. And I think if you put Waterhouse up for as Ohio State throws it in here, Notre Dame could win it.
Now the Buckeyes execute it well, going with the short line out. They have a long way to go, and they will be content to kick it. It's heading out of bounds. Referee blows the whistle and brings it back, though. Maybe an offside call against Notre Dame. So Ohio State will keep possession, move up a little bit. Clock continues to tick. It's not quite a factor yet, but certainly trending in that direction.
It is. And once you get under 20, that's when things really start to grow desperate for Ohio State, as you're down by 2 scores. But they still have time. I mean, 25 minutes left. They still have plenty of time. We've seen this game turn in just 2 or 3 minutes. That's all it takes to put together a really strong possession.
And just one clutch run, one line break, one creative kick pass could get the Buckeyes right back into it. We haven't seen either team really use their feet much, not off a tee, other than just to get the ball out of dodge. Like this. That one's super high. Artis will gather it in. Trying to spin away, but tackled nicely. And now Dunn will use his left foot to kick it. Pretty good kick. It's going to bounce inside the 22.
And look who's the first one to get there. Maybe the second. Jack Dunn. Guy's an animal, and he makes a tackle.
Yeah, like you love to see a starter playing with that much energy after so many minutes.
It's a guy you can rally behind, too, if you're on this team right now for Notre Dame. Jack Dunn is just a joy to watch. And he's done this every single game. His work rate is second to none. He's a true Irish guy. He's from Ireland. He played for the Ireland U18s over in their university system. He's here for a one-year foreign exchange program. And such a big addition for Justin Hickey and his rugby program.
Yeah, his only season of 15s will be this fall, trying to make the most of it.
And he has so far.
Oh, he certainly has. Good point.
Scored the final try against Purdue. A game in which, yeah, Waterhouse, of course, going to get a lot of credit. Had several tries. Zach Banton as well had two. But just being there, Charlie, watching it, Jack Dunn was the most critical player for Notre Dame. He was everywhere. He was at the heart of everything the Irish did. And once again, he's doing that tonight.
And Notre Dame takes the line out away, but it's gathered in by Williams for the Buckeyes, as Notre Dame deflected it, but then couldn't make anything of it. Buckeyes near the 22. Notre Dame's defense scrambling to get out far enough to the right. There's a nice pass. Ball's loose. And Notre Dame will play with advantage. And now it's loose again. And finally, the referee will stop play. So Notre Dame will settle it down. That was Scariano with the strong defense to force that mistake. Another one potentially costly for the Buckeyes, who aren't going to get that many more offensive possessions, certainly not making the most of them right now in this second half.
No, they're not. Go back to that time. They had the ball 5 meters away. They had the ball 2 meters away from the try zone. We're unable to convert. It could be the story of the day if this case persists for Ohio State. Because they've had their chances. They really have.
Buckeyes begin to stretch out some of their subs over in the left try zone, maybe thinking about some personnel changes. Neither team really used substitutions much at all so far. Notre Dame still with 14 starters in. But now a yellow card coming to Notre Dame. I believe it's Artis.
Into the sin bin he goes.
And so that'll put Notre Dame down a man. Dangerous spot all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, Ohio State has the overload, and now you got to find areas of the pitch where you can really exploit that. You get it out wide, a quick 3-on-2, maybe a 4-on-2, put Notre Dame on their back foot.
There was a long conversation between the referee and the Irish before that card was awarded. Certainly maybe something to do. And I'm watching it back, and I'm not sure where it happened. Maybe a tackle away from the play? Oh, there it is. So after Artis was tackled just before the play stopped, he kind of punched the Ohio State player in anger, probably thinking, hey, I don't have the ball anymore, I just dropped it. But obviously a legal tackle. And you can't do that. So he gets caught and he's sent off. And so Notre Dame will play with 14 for the time being. clinging to a 10-point lead. They do have the ball back, though. They were able to get a stop. Of course, you have to think while they're playing with only 14 guys on the field, they're going to be very content to hopefully win this scrub and kick it away. And they are unable to do that. Ohio State gets the ball. They're going to tap and go. Williams trying to burst through his own teammates to get inside the 5. Golden opportunity for Ohio State. They're about as close as you can get. Williams will try to down it. Another attempt. Still no signal. Notre Dame's defense doing the job right now. Very patient Ohio State team right at the try line. Still no score.
Miatashevsky and Jack Dunn, the main defenders right now for Notre Dame.
And now an offload out wide and a diving score for Ohio State. And they are right back in it. They cut the lead in half. It's 20-15 for Notre Dame. And I believe that was Widener who got the try.
It was Widener, and it was off the feed from Mark French. Mark French, a St. Ignatius man, selected for the U.S. U19s with that decisive offload, because everybody is just trying the same thing over and over again. Notre Dame holding Ohio State. A moment of breakthrough came from French, looking up, finding his teammate.
And the conversion is just wide. The score is 20-15 Notre Dame.
And Kilbane's kick goes wide right. He pushed it. So it remains a 5-point game. 3 points doesn't really do the Buckeyes good anymore. They'll have to find the try zone again. Not sure there's time to try to kick it twice. Suddenly, very tense atmosphere. It took a while, Chris, but Ohio State does get that first score of the second half, and that sets up another dramatic finish between these two teams.
We got 17 minutes of rugby left. From what I've seen in this second half, this is anybody's game. Does Notre Dame have some more stars? Yes, we've talked all day about them. But Ohio State's got this tenacity about them, Charlie, and I'm loving it. This team fights.
Yeah, they certainly do, and they're fighting right now. 17 and a half minutes to go in a one-possession game. Ohio State looking to avenge the regular season loss last year. Notre Dame looking to avenge the Big Ten championship game loss also last year. It's the third time in 2 years these two programs have played.
I'll raise you one right there, Charlie. Since 2021, these teams have played each other a total of 5 times. Notre Dame's won only 1 game.
As Waterhouse trying to change that on his own. They're inside the 5. And there's a consultation before the try is officially announced. But now it stands, and Notre Dame responds instantly. It was set up by Waterhouse, and it was finished by Dunn.
The internationals for Notre Dame coming up clutch. Jack Waterhouse had a hat trick against A&M, Springbok U20, and then you get the All-Ireland League player in Jack Dunn. Guy I've been raving about today. His work ethic is second to none on this team. I mean, he is the heart and soul of everything Notre Dame does at that number 9 position. Defensively, Jack Dunn's been making tackles. He's been making plays, and now he's got to try to show for it as well.
And Notre Dame went quick after the kick went into touch. Guinan kind of just got it and gave it to his guy, like, hey, go. And Waterhouse did, and now Guinan's left-footed kick is good. So Guinan won't get an assist, but he gets the 2 points there, and he was the one who started that play. So you talk about the internationals, let's just add another one to the list.
Yeah, there we go. Another Irish guy. And how about a response, too, from Notre Dame? Because Ohio State had possession of the ball. I'm just looking at the YouTube stream right here for a solid 6 minutes. That's how long they kept the ball. That's how long Notre Dame's defending. It's a lot more tiring, Charlie, to defend in any sport than it is to be on the offensive. And for Notre Dame just to respond within 2 minutes right after that shows a lot about the character of this team.
Knocked down by Ohio State first. Scrum to Notre Dame.
So when we get another scrum over on the far side, under 15 to play, and Ohio State gave themselves every opportunity to get back in this game, and certainly some rugby left to be played, but that's a big insurance score for Notre Dame, and the timing of it, as you were just talking about, Chris, could not have been any better.
No, it's as sweet as it comes for Notre Dame. They got to see this one out now. Hard-nosed defense, and when you get the ball, don't be afraid to strike. You still have Zach Benton out on the right. You still have Jack Dunn. You still have Jack Waterhouse in the game. So many of these talented attackers who have single-handedly changed the game for Notre Dame.
Here's a high kick. This is going to be trouble. Picked up on the bounce by Jack Lang.
Got Waterhouse with the tackle. He just covered a solid 50 meters of ground right there.
That was a good chase down. We've seen some good tackles in this game by both teams. I don't know about you, Chris. I don't think I see a single sub in this game.
Besides injuries, no.
That is, you don't see that one every day, but these coaches are saying, hey, we're not playing for the long game today. We believe that our best, even when tired, are better and need to be on the pitch, and that's what we're seeing as we get an injury to a Buckeye. Stops the clock, 13:33 to go. And both teams will get a chance to rest a little bit. There have also been some injuries for both sides, which have helped the starters stay fresh, those who are not going down and needing attention from the training staff.
It's very much been a test to both of these teams, mentally and physically. I mean, it's such a grind out on the pitch.
So just a quick consultation between Kotnick, who is down number 1 in red, white, and black, before he will get back up and stay in the game. Doesn't want to come out of this one. Who would want to come out of this game?
I think I would. These guys scare me. I think I'd get killed out there.
You know,
but no, if I'm out there as one of these players, of course I would not want to come out of the game.
You're a competitor.
No, I
think
am.
You'd figure it out.
I am. I think I'd figure it out after I break both of my arms right away. Jack Waterhouse tackles me.
Oh, I think I'd be offloading the ball before there was a chance of a tackle.
Charlie, I don't know. They come at you quick.
Oh, they certainly do. Irish trying to get it inside the 22 again. Knock on against them, though. A mistake will give Ohio State the ball back. Under 13 to play. Clock's certainly a factor now in a 2-score game. I should say 2-try game. 12-point advantage, and that's big because Ohio State, you know that they will go for the kicks when they're available. They've shown that both tonight, but also throughout the season. They're very content to go for those 3-point plays. But they're going to need to get into the try zone and down the ball twice if they want to get out of here with a road victory. And that's not going to help. Not a good scrum. And now Notre Dame can slow the pace. "12 minutes in the second half. Thanks for joining us on this Friday evening. Charlie Morris, my partner, is Chris Daly on the Notre Dame Rugby YouTube channel. So happy to be bringing you tonight's action. 1 week from today, it'll be Notre Dame hosting Marion. That one's set for a 7 p.m. start time. We'll both be on the call as well. We hope you join us then. If you're an Ohio State fan tuning in, you're playing against Michigan State at home, and that one's going to be on Saturday. So look out for how to watch that one from Columbus.
Rolling maul.
This one's defended pretty well.
Lanky's also in the game, just as a note for Notre Dame.
And number 22 in green substituting in. Here's Waterhouse. Pretty great tackle there. I believe that was Williams as those two clash once again. Guinan's gonna kick it. Can he get there? Takes a bounce. And it's well defended by the Buckeyes.
That would have been a slick play from Philip Guinan.
That certainly would have been.
And he's done that before. Remember the Texas A&M game, except it was the assist rather than
It was the
passing it to
assist.
himself.
Good call. He's been very creative with his foot. If he pulls it out at the ultra time right moment, he can get it to go. 10 minutes and 20 seconds in the half, continues to tick. Notre Dame, great opportunity here from the 5-meter line. Tap and go. Trying to bulldoze their way. Lot of bodies. Hard to see the ball.
It's
Ohio
Williams.
State trying to hold him up. Williams, that is. Good call. Now Notre Dame will retreat a little bit. And even more. Linky all the way wide. Banton, can he get the edge? Now he's going to cut it back to the middle. Still on his feet, and Banton's going to score. Zach Banton in the starting lineup. And he finally gets the try off the setup from Linky. And Notre Dame is doubling up the Buckeyes at Stinson.
That's why it's so nice to see Will Linky out on the pitch. He's got such a high rugby IQ. He has a great feel for the game, and he puts the ball in the hands of the star. He said, oh, does Banton have the edge? Well, Banton doesn't need the edge, Charlie. He can make it. He can create it himself. What a play from the All-American Zach Banton.
I know you've been waiting for that one.
I have been. I have been because Banton is so elusive and so versatile, and right there, even just the little step to the right, it's just that drop of the shoulder. It has all of the players from Ohio State going the wrong way, and then from there, he's got a free lane, and he just explodes. I call him the Energizer Bunny because that's what he is for this Notre Dame team.
So all of a sudden, what has been a very close game all night is a 17, now 19-point spread. Notre Dame in the lead and in command.
It is becoming more like that A&M game. It was 14-7 at half. We talked about that before, and then Notre Dame exploded in the second. Although Ohio State hung in this one for much, much longer. It's just the Irish had that extra bit of juice in them.
Yeah, both teams have begun to make substitutions for the Buckeyes entering the game. Joe Tipka, number 18, Tommy Graham, number 22. As both teams will dip into their benches just a little bit as some of the starters check out. We already mentioned Linky coming in for the Irish. They have also brought Dan Kilcoyne in, freshman wearing number 18. And number 23, Race Bates, has just entered as well. Chris, your former neighbor.
Yeah, former neighbor last year. Great guy.
Helped a lot. Told us some things to help us prepare for a broadcast. We're very thankful for that.
We are. He's a terrific rugby coach. If that's what he wants to do in the future, I can tell you that much. He taught me so much about this game. And it's a beautiful sport. I'm really happy I was able to learn so much from him.
Certainly is. And you know, it's not the most popular sport here on Notre Dame's campus, but it's the most popular non-varsity sport, and that's not even close. You get crowds like the one you have tonight, the support. It's not every club sport where we get to broadcast. We get a food truck.
I think it's the only.
I think it is.
In terms of broadcasting and what goes into it, it is the only. And I don't really consider this club. I mean, I know it's quote-unquote DMET because it's not NCAA affiliated, but this is a true varsity sport here on campus.
Yeah, the players certainly treat it like such, and they have every right to. Pretty easy to find a rugby player on this campus. You just look for somebody who's probably not that tall, but very strong and wearing a athlete backpack with a little Notre Dame rugby tag. And having seen them around, they are all always wearing Notre Dame rugby swag, whether it's shorts or a t-shirt, or as the days get colder, pullover. Nice Under Armour jacket. And they have every right to be doing such, as this is such a fun atmosphere at Stinson Rugby Field. And it has been tonight, Chris, and it's Notre Dame, the home team, who've pulled away by the score of 34-15 with just over 5 minutes to play.
It has been, and to build on that support to a more national level, the 2031 Men's Rugby World Cup is coming to the United States. That is huge for the growth of this sport right here in the US of A. Unless it's 2025, that's 6 years away, and there's a lot of building rugby needs to do. I think NCR has done a great job. We've worked with them quite closely now for the past 2 seasons, both with Sevens last year and then more recently with the College Rugby Show and Pat Clifton coming to town. That was an awesome time. And I think it all starts in the college game. And the more colleges that can be like Notre Dame and have this environment and have this support, the better. And the more this sport can continue to grow.
Yeah, it's crazy. You hear 2031, that sounds really far away, but it's not.
And think
It's
about
almost 2026, which means
all the planning and the infrastructure that needs to be put into this sport come 2031. I mean, it starts right now.
certainly does. Is under 5 to play. And there's a big hit. As Banton will pick up the ball deep in his own territory. He's going to try to run it himself. See if he can get to the edge. And he does, and he kicks it from basically waist high. Going to put some pressure in pursuit, but it's picked up and saved by Kilbane. Notre Dame trying to tackle him into touch. Ball stays in. There's a dive ahead. And fresh into the game, Graham for Ohio State. There's a strong counter ruck put on by Gavin Kroc, making an impact. Seamus Donovan, number 17, is also checked in. Reginald Harris, number 23, also into the game. As that was Donovan who gave it back. Winky to Guinan. And Guinan's going to kick it towards the far side of the field. Gathered in by Graham, who will give it right back. And will Guinan give it back to Graham? Let's see. Oh, he fakes it, and he keeps it, and now he gives it back, but it's over everybody's head. And it will bounce all the way towards the touchline. Guinan first in pursuit.
Jack Dunn once again as well. Very close.
And they continue to kick it back and forth, but that one's going to go into touch. So with 3 minutes to go, Notre Dame in control and with the ball. And once again, Chris, it didn't look pretty at times, but the Notre Dame team wearing down their opponent. They've outscored Ohio State 14-5 in the second half. And 14 in a row.
It's been surreal what they've been able to do in the second half of these final 40 minutes of play. And Drew Artis and Jack Dunn now both going to check off the field as Coach Hickey will sub them out. 2 terrific performances today and well-deserved rest for those 2 stars.
Now, it was a real team effort for Notre Dame tonight, on a night where Zach Banton was largely shut down, on a night where Jack Waterhouse's best plays arguably came on lineouts. They had to match the intensity of this Ohio State team coming in, playing with so much motivation coming off their loss, playing with so much motivation against this rival that is Notre Dame, especially considering the 2 games these 2 teams played last year. Notre Dame had to match that. And that's hard to do sometimes coming off a big win like they had against Michigan State, whom they beat 50-12. Coming off a win against Purdue 48-0. It's hard to raise your intensity when it's needed, but they did it tonight.
They were up for the challenge. They knew about this game too. They remember that Big Ten championship game, and a lot of these players were on the pitch. Just about all of them played in that game. They don't forget that, Charlie.
So with this result, Notre Dame moves to 5-1, and they make a big statement in the rankings. They've been as high as 10 this year. They're currently number 12. That kick is almost coming to us. It's going to deflect off some bodies. And thrown back onto the pitch and bouncing around. So the Irish will move to 5-1. They welcome Marion to town next Friday. You can catch that one here on the Notre Dame Rugby YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Chris and I will have the call. For Ohio State, they host Michigan State on Saturday, October 11th, on the beautiful campus in Columbus. Have you ever been to Ohio State?
I have not.
I have not either.
A few friends there. They all love it.
Certainly a great place, as much as they are a rival. You have to admit, when your rival is good, and Ohio State, one of the best in the country. 30 seconds to play and counting.
Notre Dame, with that game against Marion, has to raise their intensity once again. Marion beat the Irish 38-17 last season. They had a plethora of really strong results. In 2023, they had a great game, an absolute shootout, 41-34. I'm pumped to be on the call with you, Charlie.
No time on the clock, and the next dead ball will end this one. 34-15, Notre Dame. And so Ohio State been playing with advantage, so the game not quite over yet. They're going to try to score one more time. Next dead ball will make this one official. And definitely, Chris, Notre Dame's best win of the season up to this point.
It's their best win. It's their most convincing win in a team effort. Everybody contributed today. And it looks like they're not done.
Yeah, Will Linke trying to just go the length of the field by kicking it.
A little bit of footy right there from Linke.
Again, we just have to wait for one more dead ball. There's a pretty good tackle put on by Finn O'Brien for Notre Dame, who's checked in, number 17. Still in pursuit. Harris has to be very careful to stay in bounds over on the far side. And this one will be kicked. Guinan will gather it in, kick it out, and that should do it. There's the final whistle, and Notre Dame with a huge win. They defend their home turf for the second straight year. They get the better of the Buckeyes in the regular season. The final score, Irish 34, Buckeyes 15.
Great showing from Notre Dame. Just said it, this is their biggest win of the season, but they have another tough test ahead against Marion. I love a lot from what I saw to Notre Dame today. I thought their defensive discipline was really impressive. They only let up 15 points against an Ohio State team that's filled with tons of great players. This Ohio State team is going to be good for years to come. So many young players on this team. But for Notre Dame, Jack Waterhouse ran through several guys out there, and Zach Banton. At the end of the day, the guy is just magic whenever he touches the ball. Absolute delight to watch him, Charlie, and I can't wait for next week with you.
Yeah, I will be on the call for Notre Dame hosting Marion. We hope you join us on the Notre Dame Rugby YouTube channel. But for tonight, our entire crew, Walter, Jane, Alex, Aaron, most importantly, and my partner, Chris Daly, I'm Charlie Morris, saying good night from South Bend. Notre Dame 34, Ohio State 15. Have a good weekend.